What is marketing? So I was in a networking event recently where someone asked me that question, what is marketing? And it took me way too long to answer, just because my brain gets overloaded, right? Marketing is so many different things. Now, when you get right down to it, it's all about getting the word out about your business, controlling the narrative around your business, helping people understand who you are, what you do, why we should all care, so that when they need your services, they know to go straight to you. But under that marketing umbrella, we have branding, graphic design, website development, which is very different from website design. We have SEO, we have website content and blogging, email marketing, social media marketing, advertising, video production and editing, podcast production and editing. We have guesting, blog guesting, podcast guesting. There's also public relations, PR, which I like to fit under the marketing umbrella. It's a little bit different. Not everyone considers it. A lot of people consider it to be more marketing adjacent rather than actually a part of marketing. But the goal is the same. The goal is to get the word out about your business, and it just does it in a little bit of a different way. So that's a lot. And that's not even like everything that marketing encompasses. That's just off the top of my head. Those are some things that I think of when I think of marketing. So I work with a lot of solopreneurs and small business owners who know they need to grow their business, but they look at that list or they think of that list, or they get bombarded with someone like me saying you have to be blogging, you have to do email marketing. Someone else who does social media says you have to be on social media, you have to be on all the channels, or you have to be on this specific channel. And then we have podcast people saying you got to be podcasting. And you know what? Now you have to be your podcast has to be in video format in addition to being audio and all of the things that that means. It's overwhelming. So it's no wonder that people are often frozen like deer in the headlights, not knowing what to do next because there are so many different options. How do you know which is the next move that you should be taking? That's where a brand guide helps. So, what a brand guide does, it does a lot of different things. One of the key things that it does is it helps you identify what sets you apart in the marketplace versus all of the other people who are doing what you do. What makes you different? What sets you apart from everyone else who's doing all the different things that you are doing? Sometimes it's a matter of your services. Sometimes you really do have a service that's super unique and either no one else is providing those services or there's the way in which you provide those services that's a little bit different. For example, I do SEO, so there's a lot of people out there in the world of SEO who want to talk about it like it's rocket science and only the chosen few can understand SEO, and they make it super complicated, and that drives me nuts because it's really not that complicated. Yes, there are some technical aspects of it. Yeah, you got to learn a little bit of HTML and figure that out so that you can, or again, work with someone who does. But at a basic level, it's really just creating content that answers the questions your audience is asking. If you can figure that out and do that consistently, let the robots figure it out because it's up to the people creating the robots to figure out what makes good content and to figure out what content is answering which questions and then pair those two together. So if you figure out what your ideal client is doing and what sets you apart, just trust the algorithm to do the rest. They will figure it out. Other times it's the people that you work with. So as an example, I work with I always like to zero in on this. Who's your ideal client? Because again, if you're in an industry where there are a lot of people doing what you do, trying to figure out what sets you apart often comes down to, well, who is it that you like to work with? And it can help to just do the demographics, right? Just people in this geographic area with this, range of money or assets or what have you. Often it's someone in a particular situation, which I love. So, for example, there's a networking group I'm a part of that has a lot of financial advisors, and all of their elevator pitches sound the same. And they all go in one ear and out the other, and they're not differentiating themselves, and they're not memorable. There is one who specializes in working with women while they're going through divorce and right after they've been through a divorce to help them come out of that divorce in a financially stable position. And so that is really memorable. That helps her stand out. And now I know clients to refer her to, and I know power partners to refer her to because it's so unique and it's memorable and it stands out. Is that all she does? No. She also works with other people and helps them with their financial planning and wealth management and all that good stuff. But because she's really specific about this is my primary target, it makes it so much easier for her to stand out from the crowd. So, and I love this, zeroing in on your ideal clients, because that is going to be key to informing what you do going forward. Namely, as far as should you be podcasting? I don't know. Do your ideal clients listen to podcasts, or are they more likely to be reading their emails? Or do they have a ton of emails and they never read their emails, so but they're on social media all the time? Which social media channels are they on? What types of content are they engaging with? That can inform your strategy. That informs what you're going to be doing next. So then it's time to put it all together. And when you get your ideal clients, you understand your ideal clients, it's a lot more than just, like I said, their demographics. That's a good start. But their psychographics. How are they thinking about this problem? How are they talking about this problem? What language are they using to talk about this problem? What steps are they taking to try and solve this problem before they reach out to you? Are they trying to solve it themselves? Is that a good idea? Or should you create content telling them, please don't do that. You're just going to make it worse. Please just call me first. Understanding all of that and what that buyer journey looks like and the language they use in that buyer journey is going to be so much more powerful when you go to create content, because then you can include that in your content. Language that resonates with them is going to be so much more powerful, and they won't even be able to pinpoint why. They're just going to know, oh, this really speaks to me. And they're not going to know why, but it's because you're using their language. So understand your ideal clients, where they're hanging out, what types of content they want to engage with, how they're talking about their problem, how they're thinking about that problem. Then it gets super easy. So now the next time there's a shiny object, the next time someone says, you really have to do this, this, and this for your blog, your marketing, your business, whatever, stop. You look at that brand guide. Don't just say, hey, great, I have a brand guide. This is awesome. And then put it in a drawer and never look at it again. That is the wrong thing to do. It is exactly that. It is a guide. It is designed to help you navigate the wild and often stormy waters of marketing, right? So the next time there's a shiny object, someone says, you got to do this. It's the next big thing. Everyone is on it. It's never true that everyone is on it. Even the LLMs, it might be true at this point, but there are actually, no, I was again, I was talking to a couple people just last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago, who say, no, they never use those things. They have no interest in using them. There are people who are not using them. So if you're putting all your efforts into trying to show up in the LLMs and your audience isn't there, that's just a waste of time. And by LLMs, I mean large language models. That's the chatbots, basically. The Chat GPT, the Claude, Perplexity, all that fun stuff. So next time someone tells you got to be doing something, go back to your brand guide. Does this align with your overall business goals? Does it align with your brand? Does it help communicate what sets you apart in the marketplace? And most importantly, does it align with your ideal clients? If it checks all those boxes, great. Yeah, you probably should be doing this. Hop on it as soon as you can. If there's even one box in there that it does not check off, it's probably just a distraction. Maybe you can kind of finagle it and make it work. Maybe you can, instead of getting in front of your ideal clients, maybe it's a way to get in front of your power partners, in which case, yeah, you can go for it, but you might want to change the messaging a little bit, right? So make sure it checks all those boxes. And if it does, great. If not, it's just a distraction. Just let that shiny object fly on by, maybe worry about it later. But if you can really stay focused on your brand and what makes you unique and who your ideal client is and why they want to work with you over someone else, it's going to inform everything you do going forward when it comes to getting the word out about your business. And it makes it so much easier, instead of spending months or even years going, should I do this? Should I do that? Is this the right move? Is that the right move? Should I be going over here? Should I be going over there? We've all done that, right? We've all been going over and over the pros and cons in our head for way too long without making any moves. And especially in marketing, the longer you go without making a move, the more opportunities you're missing out on. So get that brand guide in place so that you can use it as your guide, again, to navigate these wild and stormy waters of marketing. So if you need help with that, because that is a lot easier said than done, figuring all that out. So if you need help with that, please call me. I love helping people with this. Again, you can find more information like this over on my website, which is AV as in my initials, Allison Verhalen. That is avwritingservices.com. And you can reach me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. That's it. Have a great weekend. Happy blogging, everyone.